Perry Peacock with Wilderness Innovation here, and I'd like to do just a quick little deal today on stop. So I'm standing here in front of a stop sign and up the canyon here, and I want you to think of that stop sign every time you're in a trouble situation. Let me go ahead and give you the details of what stop means to me. So let's cover this. The first letter in stop, of course, is S. And S, the stop, the letter S stands for stop. And simply meaning, you know, if you've come on a difficult situation, if you've become lost, stranded somehow, broken down, don't go all hasty and just, I call it, bounce around like a human pinball. You know, stop for a moment, take a few deep breaths, and give yourself a chance to kind of calm down. Oftentimes people, they get so, you know, feeling like they need to get out immediately. I got to do this right now, my clock's ticking, you know, I got to watch my watch, you know, all that sort of thing. Don't do that. Stop. Okay, the second letter is T, and that stands for think. So first of all, we want to stop. Don't bounce all over the place. Stop, stay put. Number two is think. So we want to be thinking about what's our situation, you know, where are we at, kind of, you know, am I all right, you know, I'm physically okay. You're just kind of collecting your thoughts for just a moment. This doesn't have to be necessarily a long-term process, but it's just a matter of stop and think. A lot of times the situation you're in, initially your first thought is, oh my God, you know, what am I going to do? You know, your first thought a lot of times is you're in a worse situation than you really are. So just stop, think about it, take a look at your situation and realize, hey, I'm still breathing, so that's a good sign. All right, so the third letter now is O for observe. So we've stopped, we've thought about things, now we want to observe. So what we want to do is we want to look back at our surroundings here. What is there on the hillside here? Are there resources for shelter? Does it look like there's an area where water's seeping, where there might be a spring? Like right down here, here's a trail. You know, where did I get off the trail somewhere if it's a matter of being lost? Over on the other hillside, that trail kind of goes off up in that way. See what's going on, observe the animal life, the climate, the temperatures. Today we've had some thunderstorms, that sort of thing. That's pretty much passed by us for right now. But those are some things. You want to try to consider all your options. Part of observing is you're trying to evaluate some things. For example, you know, do I need to stay here overnight? Am I all right? You know, can I just get out of here? That sort of thing. So there's a little bit of observing and then going back and thinking, and so you're going to kind of repeat and kind of cycle through these things a little bit as you're doing this. But you just want to observe and evaluate what resources you have, what food you might have, that sort of thing. Generally speaking, your first consideration might be shelter and water, and you know, depending on temperature and climate and that sort of thing, maybe fire, that sort of thing. So you want to look around for a few things like that. So stop, think, observe. Okay, now the fourth letter of stop, of course, is P, and that stands for plan. So now that we've stopped and taken a deep breath, we've thought things over a little bit, we've made an observation of our surroundings, of our resources, even what's on our body and our packs and our vehicles, whatever, and we've kind of observed what do we have, kind of done an evaluation. And now the next thing, so now you have all that information, you're stopped, you've paused. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to make a plan. But one of the things that you may consider is, you know, am I going to stay here tonight? Can I get out? You know, can I get out today, tonight, depending on what time of the day it is? You know, what's my health like, my medical condition, all those sorts of things. what kind of dangers or threat levels are there, all that sort of thing. So you evaluate all that, you generate a plan. And one thing a lot of people do is they say, I've got to get out tonight. You know, a lot of times things break down or you get stuck or whatever. It's in the evening, you're on your way back home, you've just been up for the day somewhere, and now something goes wrong. But people just think, they look at their watch and it's like, oh my gosh, I've got to get out of here. I got to be home by 8 o'clock or something, you know, and maybe make a decision that sometimes costs people their lives. So you want to consider, is it safe to try to get out? Or is it better just to stay put and go through the night? A lot of times you can think a lot clearer in the morning, you get a good night's rest, and you're kind of energized in the fresh light of day. A lot of times you may see something that you hadn't realized the day before or the night before. So there's our 4 steps in brief. We cover them in detail in our training and in our manuals and that sort of thing. But so that's it. 4 letters of the stop sign: stop, think, observe, and plan. So when you're out, be safe. If something happens, remember to stop and make your time safe and stay alive. This is Perry Peacock with Wilderness Innovation.